How's it going, boys and girls? Welcome to another Racer X Garage Build. I am Kris Keefer. We are, of course, where else would we be? Glen Helen Raceway. You're staring at a 2021 YZ250F prepped by Boyko Racing. That's right, Teddy Boyko has been in the business longer than I've been alive, right? So we called him up to dress up, not only dress up, but actually dive into our engine to give us a little bit more power. I'm getting older. I need some more torque. My son's here, he's 15, he's hyperactive, he's always up my butt about, I want to ride a fast Yamaha, Dad, I want to ride a fast Yamaha. So we're here today to test this thing out. We brought the man here today to talk about what he's done. So let's listen to Ted and see what is inside of this machine right here. All right, we got the man on the left of me right here. Ted, break us down. Well, first of all, as you guys know in these garage builds, I like a little backstory. So Ted, if you guys can imagine this, Ted has been around longer than I've been alive in this industry. Knows a lot more than I do, and I feel like Ted doesn't get enough love out there from a lot of other, media outlets that seem to have other guys do their work. But Ted did this to me. He's been working very closely. He's asked me questions. What I like about Ted, and this is just me, he comes with paperwork. I'm a big paperwork guy. If you go in my office, there's all kinds of paperwork, facts, figures, notes. He brought me everything he's done to this bike. So Ted, give us, these people out here, a little bit of a background, where you come from, how long you've been doing it.
Sure. I'm Ted from Boyko Racing, and I started this about 35 years ago, and I've had Boyko Racing now for 13 years, and we have a nice shop in Laguna Hills, California, with a nice machine shop to do all the stuff that we do to these bikes as far as the modifications. And this particular bike here, I kind of designed for Aiden and talked to Kris quite a bit on what mods we were going to do. They brought the bike to me, kind of wore out, and I just resurrected it. And I'll just tell you a few things that we did to get it to this point. And some of the things, first off, was I put in a WOSSNER 14-to-1 forged piston with a set of stock rings. We did a port and polish on it with a valve job, and popped that back in there and assembled it and did a bunch of other stuff to it as far as the aesthetics. And Fly Racing, Terry Beasley, good friend of mine, was kind enough to give us a lot of the nice features that we have on the bike as far as the foot pegs and the levers and a lot of the nice things that he contributed to this project. And thank God I have a lot of friends to help out with this project. It's guys at FMF, Little D, and George Luddig, Big D, were kind enough to get us a nice exhaust for this thing. Brock Glover at Dunlop got me some really cool tires that Kris and his son use and accommodated us. We have some really nice pro wheel rims that we got for this. The Carters, and they supplied the wheels. Lendon Smith, Seat Concepts. We have another neat item here that's pretty cool. That's some triple clamps here with some shock absorbers that are from the company from France called NEKEN. And it's quite unique. They have some they're quite different from what we've seen in the past, so we're going to be playing with those today. So we're, all in all, one other item I think I forgot was the Recluse torque drive clutch that we also added to this project. So when we went to the dyno, I wanted to make sure that this thing was hooking up. So I have provided Kris here a dyno sheet to go along with it to show the stock and our first pulls. We did 4 pulls on the dyno, and we got some good numbers out of it, and hopefully Kris will put that in this editorial as well. Another item that helps out with the performance is the ETS racing fuel. This is some good fuel that I recommend for 2-strokes and 4-strokes if none of you guys are new to their fuels. They've been around a long time. They manufacture fuels for a bunch of different race teams, and so we're starting to use the ETS fuel for the 4-strokes and the 2-strokes. They make several different fuels. Our handlebars are also something that's different on this. It's a new smooth system that the NEKEN company says to try, so we're kind of excited to try all the little different things that we got on here, and excited to be here today.
So guys, as you guys know, the YZ250F is one of the best engine packages in this class. What we're looking for, and Aiden was looking for, is just for a little bit more mid-range pull, a little bit more torque. Now, Teddy has shown me the dyno results. I did not show Aiden. I'm not a huge proponent of looking at dyno sheets before I ride it. I like to figure it out myself and then get with the engineers and decide. So we're going to let Aiden ride this thing right now. After he's done, I'm going to get on it and we're going to have some fun. We'll get back to you and tell you all about this lovely. You know what? Real quick before I step away here, I'm usually not a huge fan of gray plastic, but this whole motif is, when I pulled up, I was really excited because it looks really good, and it seems to shimmer off the sunlight. So I'm excited to ride it, Ted, and we'll get back to you guys right now after Aiden rides it at Glen Helen Raceway. All right, guys, Aiden and I just got off this sucker at Glen Helen Raceway. YZ250F, just prepped up by Ted over at Boyko Racing. Great guy, lots of knowledge within that brain of his. So the reasons why we kind of built this, actually, Ted hit me up, and I said, yeah, why don't you build this YZ250F? Because Aiden, this guy right here, has been bugging me to ride a fast 250F. So real quick impression of my experience on this bike. I only rode 10, 15 minutes on it, but I've been on these bikes so much I can dissect these things really quick. So Ted did a good job of creating more torque out of corners where it allows you to short shift. This thing won't rev out. It's not a screamer on top, but it's like a little miniature 450 where it likes to be short shifted. You can come out of corner, roll second, and click third early. Basically, for me, I would assume this is a vet-friendly engine character. Now, we're using a stock ECU on this YZ250F that's mapped, but I think a Vortex will help that rev a little bit more, and I think this bike could use a little bit of a richer setting up on top. So Ted did what he could with the ECU. I'm going to go a little further and try to adjust and play around with it. So I will have a map available over on my website, or you can hit me up, Kris at KeeferInkTesting.com, and I will try to get you a modified map for heads and high compression pistons. So, Aiden. Ted built this sucker with you in mind because you want one so bad. So you actually look pretty good on it. Last time you had a YZ250F, you looked small. Now you don't look small. You look like it fits you now. Overall, what do you think of this bike? It's been your dream to ride one of these things.
Honestly, the first thing I saw was how sick it looked. Like,
The bars look pretty cool.
Yeah, the bars, like.
And to a 15-year-old, looking sick is 90% of it, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah, the look. And basically the only reason why I wanted to ride one of these, because Star Bike, I mean, Star Bikes are sick.
All right, you hopped on it. What was your first impression of it?
First impression was it just had a lot of meat. I can already tell. As soon as I jumped onto the track and went down the start straight at Glen Helen, it just had a lot of meat on it.
Yeah, meat as in like torque feeling, bottom to mid-range power. Yeah. Did you notice the top end kind of signed off a little bit? Did you short shift it?
I did notice that a little bit. It kind of tripped me out. I didn't short shift it because I haven't really.
You're used to revving it out on the KTM?
Yeah, I haven't really had that much experience on like a Honda or like a KTM.
So, all right, so now you're short shifting, you're getting around the track pretty well. Can you appreciate what these guys, you know, when someone builds an engine of a Yamaha caliber, can you appreciate what they're using when they get out of the start gate and pull you down the straightaway?
Yes, I can appreciate it a lot more.
All right, so Ted did a great job of creating more of, I think, a vet-friendly machine. I think he would like a little bit more top-end rev, but for me, man, it's a fun bike to ride, get out of the hole, shift early, get down the straightaway in third gear. I like that part. I always talk about this gear. Third gear is the magic gear for vet guys, and you want to be in that to make it an easier experience for you on the track. A couple little tidbits on this bike. The NEKEN clamp, I've had some experience with NEKEN, usually on the rigid side, but with these little shock absorbers that the SFS clamp uses, for me, it's a different experience on the track. It almost feels, if I can explain to you guys at home, it almost feels like something's loose or a wheel bearing's loose. But you got to remember that little bar mount, it acts like a shock absorber. So it's picking up all those little imperfections out there at Glen Helen. It's something that I would have to get used to. It's a very different feeling for me. Leaning in the corner, you can feel that little bar mount picking up all of those little imperfections inside the rut. So it would be something I would have to get used to, but nonetheless, you can feel it working. Fly presented up a lot of parts for us to use. The clutch lever, it's a folding clutch lever, brake, and little trinkets. If Spencer can zoom in on this, which he will later, these pegs are mega wide. Did you notice these pegs at all?
I did notice these pegs. I'd catch them on the rut sometimes.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit too big, but man, you have a huge platform to stand on. All right, so Ted did a great job on this bike. It's a fun, vet-friendly machine. I had a great time. I love YZ250Fs in general, but when you add a little bit more horsepower to it, it just makes it that much more fun. Like I said, Ted does a lot of cylinders and heads. He's a great machinist. He's been around the game a long time, so it's cool to get some of that old school experience into a bike. You can go visit what he does over at boykoracing.com. And, yeah, give him a shout. He's a very friendly guy, very outspoken, just fun to be around. I know me and you've had some experience with him the past month or so trying to get this bike build, and I'll put Ted on the speakerphone, and Aiden's like, I like Ted. He's, like, loud and, like, yeah.
That guy's a funny guy.
Yeah, so it's fun. Another things to add to this build, of course, the FMF muffler. It sounds cool. It's like a star bike.
It does sound like a star bike a little bit.
FMF Racing builds a good muffler for a YZ250F. In stock form, the FMF brings a little bit more mid-range meat, and it makes it smooth smooth out the power on the bottom end, but gives you more mid-range to top end. So on this, it kind of brings up the mid-range a little bit. Ted showed me on the dyno after I rode it what it did. We got 5 extra horsepower out of this, if I didn't mention that already. So that's actually a huge jump from a 250F. So he did a great job getting some added horsepower and some added torque. So almost 2 foot-pounds of torque, which is very good on this bike. Recluse torque drive clutch makes the clutch pull really easy. And if you're a Yamaha guy and you have a little problem with your clutch lever pull, get a Recluse torque drive clutch pack, and that will help the engagement, spread that out a little bit farther, make it more linear. So lots of trinkets on here that'll make it really cool, and it's a custom build. So yeah, it's just a pleasure to ride these things. I love riding dirt bikes, and when you get to build something like this and then have me ride it, there's a smile on my face. So you can visit racerxonline.com for more information, more bike builds. Go to the YouTube channel. Of course, subscribe to Racer X Illustrated. 12 issues, $30. Aiden wears Ethicas. Get a free pair of Ethicas. You actually have a Racer X Ethica underwear, right?
I do on right now, actually. I think I do.
Well, there you go. So get yourself a free pair of underwear. All right, we'll see you on the next go-around, the garage build. See you guys later.